going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Canadian Football Fantasy Fix for the Division Semi-Finals of 2021. I am Ryan Coop here with your defensive preview this time around, looking through the 4 different options available on defense for the East and West Division Semi-Finals. If you missed it earlier today and yesterday, I released my quarterback, running back, and wide receiver preview videos as well. You can go back and check those out for this week and get set to lock in your lineups before the games kick off on Sunday. Quick note, I will not have a depth chart update video this week, unfortunately. Jam-packed schedule for me. Depth chart updates or depth charts from the teams don't come out until Saturday this week, and I just unfortunately do not have the time or the ability to get to my recording desk to sit down and record the video. I will tweet out the depth charts, though, as they come out. You can follow me on Twitter at CooperTrooper42 to get those. Let's dive right in and take a look at the 4 options on defense. This should be a quick video as we go through them all. And, each week we go green, yellow, or red light on each of the options. And this may seem like a cop-out. I may take some heat for this one, but they're all green lights to me this week. I think any of these defenses are potentially a good play for you. And I can go through and talk about here kind of which ones I like a little bit more than others, but I think there's good potential for each and every one of these teams to hit their full value mark of 2.5 points per $1,000 this week. I think these are going to be 2 well-contested games. The Riders have one of the better run defenses in the league. Calgary's defense has come on real strong late in the season. I think Montreal and Hamilton are, upper echelon when it comes to a bunch of defensive stats. I think it's going to be 2 close, tight defensive games here in late November, early December. I guess late November. It's not December quite yet. Next week. But let's go top-down price-wise. They made them all real cheap, too, which makes it easy to recommend picking one of these defenses. Of course, they have adjusted the cap to be only $30,000 instead of $40,000, but the Riders are the most expensive defense on the slate at $3,500. You need 8.8 points out of them to get the 2.5 points per $1,000 that I deem full value typically. A good mark to strive for to have a good week. They've averaged 8.5 a game on the year, so they've been real close to that on average. In their last 5 games, they've gone 11, 8, 4, 7, and 8. So they haven't really hit the full value actually in their last 4 games. They've come pretty close, about as close as legitimately you can get. If you with the defense, they don't get partial points, so 8 is as close as you can feasibly get without going over. Price is Right rules, The thing I like about the Riders' defense this week is the matchup with Calgary, and I think if you take a look at, the different quarterbacks in that playing this week, Bo Levi Mitchell for Calgary has had himself a down year this year. He's thrown himself a decent number of interceptions. I think if the Riders are going to come out they do have one of the better pass rushes in the league. They have 2 of the league leaders in sacks. They could get some pressure on Calgary early on in this game. They could throw Bo off his game a little bit here and pick up some turnovers potentially there. So I think it's a good potential option. I like the matchup here for the Riders' defense. That's why they get the green light. Montreal at 3,200 is, I think, the best defensive option of all of these teams. I would rank Montreal's defense, especially from a fantasy perspective, as second best in the league behind the Bombers, and the stats show that. They've averaged a 9.1 points per game so far on the season, and at a $3,200, if you just need 8, they have an average day, and you've got more than you bargained for out of them. They faced the Ticats team, who have shut it down pretty well down the stretch. They did give up 16 points in week number 15, which was a real stinker of a game there for Hamilton. But other than that, they have not given up double digits since week number 2. So the matchup, I think, is a little bit tighter with Hamilton, but Montreal does have one of the better pass rushes in the league. They also, in down the stretch drive here, in 5 of their last 7 games and 6 of their last 8 games have hit full value. So they've been the most consistent in the second half of the season. and at a cheap price, I like Montreal there. Hamilton's defense is even cheaper at $3,000. You need 7.5 points out of them. They've averaged 8.7 a game on the year. They seemingly, have trailed off here and there. They've been a little inconsistent down the stretch. Their last 6 games, they have flip-flopped back and forth. They had 5, 16, 4, 6, 2, and then 15. So it's been up and down. In their last 4 games, only one of those hitting the full value. So there is some, maybe concern there from the Ticats defense, but certainly they've got some big playmakers on there. While Trevor Harris has thrown, some touchdowns, etc., since he's taken over as Montreal's quarterback, we've seen him at times throughout the season also throw his fair share of interceptions, and that's something Hamilton could capitalize on here. I would say I like Hamilton a little bit less than some of these other options just because I think Montreal does have a pretty good offensive line this season, so I maybe they don't get as many sacks, but the price is low. They've earned the green light based on their average on the season. Calgary also gives me the green light, gets a green light, and this one's the more skeptical one because they have not quite hit their full average with 6.2 points a game this year. You need 7 out of them. I think they have an interesting matchup here with the Riders who, their offensive line is such an inexperienced offensive line. They've been shaky at times throughout the year, but they, to their credit, have still done a pretty darn good job. They did give up 15 points in the final week of the season, but the last time they gave up double digits was back in week 6. For the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Why do I like Calgary's defense here? Well, their last 5 games, they've given full value in every single one of them. So if that's not late season consistency from a team that is starting to play well here, I don't know what is. So like I was saying, all of these defenses have been giving you what you need out of them, which is why they get the green light. Now, I'm not going to, go full cop out here and say pick whichever defense you like. It doesn't really matter. No, I'll give you my rankings here of who I think are the better defenses. I don't think price plays too much into it here, honestly. Of course, if you are strapped for cash, you got to go one or the other. But I think I like Montreal's defense the most here at their price. Then I like the Riders in that matchup against Calgary. Then I like Calgary in that game against the Riders based on how well they've been playing lately. And then I'm a bit skeptical on the Hamilton side of things here a little bit, but still think it's a good play there. So those are your options. That's kind of how I see it playing out on defense. You only have 5 roster spots on your roster this week compared to the usual 7. I think it's 5. If I just quickly double check here, it is in fact just 5 spots on your roster. I was making sure I wasn't miscounting for you. Only 5 spots. Pick a defense. Do not leave off the defense and only go 4 players this week. Give yourself the most opportunity to get points, and what's going to be a low-scoring week, I think. There is plenty of points to go around potentially from the defenses. So those are your options for this week. Again, go back, check out the quarterback, running back, and wide receiver previews I released already as well. No depth chart update video this week, as I mentioned off the top of the show, but you can find all of them over on Twitter. Do all the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you liked, what you didn't. If you have any fantasy questions, put them in the comments section or tweet them at me at CooperTrooper42. Links in the description for that. And if you want to play CFL Fantasy alongside myself and other viewers, there's a link in the description to the Canadian Football Fantasy Fix group over on the official CFL Fantasy site. You can play alongside myself and others throughout the entire 2021 CFL playoffs. Best of luck to you with if your team's playing in one of the division semi-finals this weekend. Best of luck to you in your CFL fantasy endeavors as well. I hope you crush it. I hope we see you at the top of the leaderboard. And I'll be back again next week to preview the division finals for that week as well. So as always, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.